Well, howdy. This is Major MacV, Sheila Varian's young stallion. My name is Lester. I am honored to be asked by Sheila to come take him for a ride out on the Biddle and hackamore for the first time. First time in hackamore, first time out of the arena, out riding out on a ranch. I'm just going to kind of take you along with me on my ride and his ride and just share with you a few of the little things that we experienced together. It was Sheila's dream for this stallion to get out and get the opportunity to be a real horse up in the mountains, out in the hills, running and trotting and walking around in the different things that we see out on ranches, the ground squirrel holes and the trees and the creeks and the highs and the lows, and just learn how to use himself properly. I'm just real happy with the fact that he's with me. You never know what you're going to get when you get out of the arena and you get out on these big ranches and wide open spaces, and he's real sensible and just real smart about learning where to put his feet real quick. We're both kind of learning each other together. I've ridden him before when I visited with Sheila, and so I kind of know him, but this is our first ride in the hackamore, and we're just kind of learning each other here about that together. As much as possible, I'll try to give him a little bit of a time to look at something, but if I see something that's a bit risky for his feet, I might just show him right quick because I want to keep him safe. But when I don't have to do it right quick, I'll real methodically just show him that hand, let him know as a pre-cue that we're going to turn to the right or to the left, and give him a chance to kind of feel it. Thank you, Angela, for coming out at the drop of a hat when you realized we were going to take this horse out to the Biddle, and bringing your camera out and capturing this for Sheila. We did get to show it to her, and it really blessed us all, blessed her immensely, and I gave her a real sense of relief. It was real important to her right there in those last days that she knew this was going to happen, saw it happen, and was able to share in it. A real special memory for all of us. Attaboy. That's pretty handy right there for a young stallion out on the ranch, first ride in a hackamore. That's pretty handy. Now, I am obviously using different parts of my body to help him as well, but he's a listener, he's a thinker. I love the way he's kind of learning to carry his own balance here going down the hill. You notice I'm not holding him that much. I want him to learn to think, handle his own balance, think his way down through those hills and those little crevices. And that's handy. And you can see he has a real, right there he's licking his lips out. Turned him around a little bit crisper there than I might have a horse that I didn't have as much feel for, but he handled it and felt really nice. And then he licked his lips out as soon as we were done with that little crisp turn. That is a nice feel right there. I'll just ask him to pause, get a little poise, and then I'm going to go off again. This is nice. You can watch him placing those feet down through the rocks. Not every step is perfect. It's an opportunity for him to learn the consequences of putting his feet, right where they need to be, paying attention to every little rock, every little pebble, every little branch. There we see him licking his lips out again. Working a little bit of poise, off we go again. What a real treat. My wife and I, Mary, live in Kentucky and are dear friends of Sheila's, and Sheila and I have been riding together for years. Here I'm just snapping off some twigs. He's looking down at a little creek and up, and I'm just kind of letting him decide which way he'd like to go here. I'm not going to force him to go one way or the other, and I'm just snapping off some twigs and letting him assess the situation, and he decides he'd like to go this way, and I'm just kind of getting with him as opposed to putting my agenda on him. I'm just saying, well, what feels good to you here, and let's do it together. And oh, that's nice, just seeing him pick his way through those rocks. And I'm going to kind of play with him here a little bit and see if he wants to cross that little that little creek down there, and but I'm not going to force it on him. You'll notice here I got my back cinch a little bit looser than I would have normally. This horse had never had a back cinch on him, and this was his first day in hackamore and first day out riding out on a ranch, and I didn't feel like he needed that distraction as well. We went ahead and did this 2 or 3 more days after this particular day, and by the end of this first day I had it snugged up pretty snug on him. I just didn't feel like we needed that distraction this first particular day. I just wanted it to be a successful day for him. You can really see he's got a keenness about his intelligence, and he's starting to pick his way through here. I just turn him loose and let him kind of find his own rhythm. Make a few suggestions to him. See if he's game yet for crossing that little old patch where there's a lot of dead branches and a lot of dead leaves. And he's like, well, I don't know, let's test it. He's real keen about that. So he's found a way over here that he kind of likes, and so he and I will just go over there together. And it's a lot about building a bond, a lot about building a trust with where he's feeling like a champion all the time. He's feeling like a winner all the time, and then when we do set him up for something that's a little bit more challenging, he's like, well, you know what? You've never set me up for failure, and I pretty much trust what you have to ask. I'm game, let's do it. And right here, we're just in the formative stages of building that bond and building that relationship. There, I trust him enough to just ride him one-handed, because I know he's going to find his way through there. Then where I see that there's some gopher holes or ground squirrel holes and some rocks, I might help him a little bit more just to kind of keep him safe. Now he's going to look down here at this little bitty old wash and manage his way through there, and I rub him on the neck, let him know I'm pleased with that, let him find his own balance coming out without hanging on him. Just give him his freedom and let him walk on out. He's just real peaceful. Oh, he did see a piece of grass there that he thought might be interesting. Now we're just riding Major Mac out and allow him to kind of get a feel for the terrain here. I'm not worried about my back cinch being loose. I intentionally left it a little bit loose just because that's his first time to have one on. I wanted him to just have a nice clean opportunity to lick his lips, just to enjoy the ride. Not have any more distractions than just me and him in the terrain and the pulls and the pushes that are normally out on a ranch. Lots of things of interest out there. This little horse got to feeling kind of freer and freer and freer as our ride went on, and then you'll just notice that he goes from being real calm and real collected to bringing his life way up, but still being real calm and cool and collected and peaceful, even once his joy became almost unbearable for him. He was just so happy to be out, and he's just learning that every stride right here. He's just starting to realize what it is to be a horse outside. There's a classic example of preparing that right rein, showing him the right hand, bringing him around, give him a nice little release. Preparing that left hand, help show him around to the left, give him a nice little release, and help show him around again. Attaboy, Major Mac. Let him find his own balance once he finds it. Help him minimally, but I don't believe necessarily that I ought to tell him what he already knew to do. I think you can offend a smart horse. You can offend a horse that has a lot of courage. Oh, that was really nice. He liked that and I liked that. That was one of our better moments together. I just prepared, showed him the way around to the right. He lightly and loosely came through there. I released the hackamore completely, and he and I both knew that's what it's about. Not a lot of leverage, not a lot of force. More finesse, real pretty, real soft. He's got a lot of power, a lot of strength, a lot of stamina. It doesn't make any sense to kind of work against that. We'll just work with it. I'm just kind of playing with him right here. He's a little bit interested on what's on the other side of the fence, and so rather than fussing with him and saying we got to leave the fence, I'll just say, well, let's just kind of go by this fence 2 or 3 times. I can kind of work on, establishing a little bit of a turnaround here with the hackamore, and pretty soon, after we've kind of come by here 2 or 3 times, you might be interested in going and seeing somewhere else, and so you'll see that happen here in a little bit. I'm just kind of working on allowing him a little bit of poise right here. That's money in a savings account right there. Brag on him for kind of just getting and matching my energy, and then off we go together. Here at our little barn in Kentucky, I've got a sign up on the wall that says "Together is a beautiful place to be." And what I intend by that is getting with your horse. So right here, my intentions are to go ahead and leave that corner, and guess what? He's going with us. We're both heading off together. Wonderful. Now we can see him licking his lips. You can see his softness in his mind. You can see the softness in just his relaxation in his mouth. Lots of snags, lots of tree limbs, lots of rocks. Just let him learn. The best way I can let him learn is to allow him a little bit of independence, or actually a whole lot of independence even, and let him learn. There's natural consequences to those rocks and snags and creeks and holes, and help him when I need to help him to keep him safe, but don't overdo it. Less is definitely more. Slower is quicker. Here I feel like I can trust him for a little bit, so I'm just going to let him coast along here, and I'll try not to say too much. We can see it right here with this little horse, and it's real important to me that these horses that I have an opportunity to ride, Major Mac's really demonstrating this well, they start finding their reward and their peace with you in the quietness of your seat and in the quietness of the moment. So it's not the busyness of my body or holding him in any particular posture. It's getting real quiet, real balanced when he's where I want him, and that becomes where he learns to go to more often than he and I are together. Then in the quietness of my posture and the quietness of my seat, he learns his place. I have my place with him, and then we're a bond, and it's a wonderful feeling for anybody. We'll just share it. just intentionally ride him along one-handed for a little while because I don't feel there's anything I need to say to him. I just feel like we're one. Own the moment and let him own it. I don't need to be doing anything more than just quiet, walking straight. Oh, he's a keen little horse. It is a nice horse, Jaime. You've done a wonderful job with him in the arena. Thank you. Here we can see him licking his lips out and enjoying life. Sheila wanted me to share with you folks how we met. We had been riding together for several years at Light Hands Horsemanship, a little clinic there in San Ynez. And one year after the clinic, Sheila's like, I want you, Lester, to get on my horse, hop on my horse, ride him, and tell me what's wrong with him. And I'm like, well, okay, you gonna give me a hint? And she's like, nope. I'm like, okay. So I hopped on her horse and rode him around and walked him left and right, and this is a real pretty moment of poise right here. That's just real pretty right there. So I'm going to go ahead and ride up this ridge on him here and just let him kind of play with finding his balance on the way up. Try not to pull on him too much. I do need him to go uphill, so I might help him here a little bit through the holes in the rocks. So I hopped on Sheila's horse and I walked him to the right and walked him to the left and trotted a circle to the right and the left and did a couple of turnarounds, and I walked over to him and I said, well, Sheila, he's crooked. He's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, he's crooked to the right. So he turns around pretty good because he's actually bent better to the right, but when you turn him around to the left, he kind of kicks his hind end out of gear because he doesn't have his balance going that way. He's balanced a little bit better the other way. And she goes, that's exactly right. Now, tell me what I need to do to fix it. It was so much fun. So we talked about some little exercises we could do to kind of help balance him out. And from then on, we were just fast friends. And my wife and I, Mary, went to the Summer Jubilee later that year. And Sheila and I were walking along there one night, and she had shown me all the horses. And we ended up with a couple of real special mares. This is his first trot right here. And I'm just letting him trot out. Now I want him to stay balanced, so I'm intentionally not going into a rising trot. I don't want to speed him up, but I don't want to hang on him and slow him down. The tendency would be with this to want to hold him, but I don't want to do that. I want him to own our energy together here. So I might turn him a little bit if I see that there's some risky things in front of him, but I want to allow him to find his own rhythm. So Mary and I, just like a lot of you people that have known her for a long time, ended up with a couple of really nice Arabian mares from her. It kind of felt like a line out of Humphrey Bogart. She goes, well, I reckon this is going to be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. And I just knew that it was. This is really pretty right here. He feels so dang good. And I just leave the reins long. You know what? He's not being naughty. He's just so joyful that he just can't hardly stand it. And I think that's a wonderful thing to be. So I don't want to take that away from him. He's realizing the whole life that's ahead of him, and this is his first canter with me out on a ranch in Hackamore. He sees some holes up there, and he's like, well, looky there, we better shut her down and let's just go back the other way. And I'm thinking, you're a thinking horse. Now that's what I like right there. He hit a little slick spot there and lost his balance, but with no panic and no trepidation. He just got his balance back, took off like a courageous animal, and just got his balance back, and here we go. That right there is a wonderful ride, and it's not that I am that great, but his balance and his smoothness and his power is just a wonderful thing to behold for a youngster. Look at him, he's standing there on 3 legs like I could balance up here all day long. Ain't I something, he says. Major Mag V. Well done, Sheila Varian. I guess the main thing I needed to share before things wrapped up is Angela and Brandon got some pictures, and some of Sheila's closest friends, Lisa and Jean and Kristen and Audrey, was able to go out with me and ride and share this experience, and we took it home, and Angela got it on film, and we shared this right here with Sheila, and everybody laughed. And it was just Lisa and I, and she was way back in the back of the living room, and Sheila was so relieved. You could just see the relief in her, seeing her horse out there where she wanted him to be. And I leaned over and I kind of held her hand and I said, I guess I'm not going to see you again, am I? She said, well, I don't reckon we will. And she got real emotional, and it's real hard for me to talk about it, but she got real emotional. She said, well, what you did for this horse today, you did for me personally. What you did to this horse today, getting him out there and setting him free, getting him outside, you did to me. Then it dawned on me how deeply emotional her whole life had been, and what she thought was important to the horses, all horses, that she had an opportunity to influence. The wonderful minds, the disposition, the body that she brought to the Arabian breed, but to all horsemen. The values that she instilled in these horses, and how emotional it was for her to get out of that chair in her mind and in her spirit and get out one more time on this horse, the horse that she spent her whole life looking towards, culmination of all the others, and get him out on the ranch in a hackamore. And this is the sentence that really struck me, and I think it will all horsemen and women. She said, you know what I want for this horse? He doesn't really have to go to the arena. I believe in him. I wanted something that was clean and pure and honest for this horse. And you know what? I think that's what she wanted all along, and she lived it out.